Hi there. In this video segment, we'll cover the assembly of the FCX2000. Now keep in mind there are some minor differences between the different sizes of the model, but I'll point out those differences as we move along. So right now, let's go ahead and take the stand box and take all the parts and pieces out and lay them out on the floor in an organized manner, similar to what you see in this following picture. Here I've laid them all down on the floor for you, all the parts and pieces. I'm going to identify them for right now. Let's go ahead and start with the smaller parts. You've got the screws that put the stand together. Next to it's the Allen wrench that tightens those screws. You have the power cord, and then of course you have the USB cord. Then you have the screws for mounting the table, and then the screws for mounting the control box. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom out now and identify the control box. It's the electronic control box. You got the cross members and the two stand legs. This one, it goes on the right. These are the holes you mount the control panel to. Before I start building the stand, I wanted you to take notice of this little square in the corner. This is a picture of all the parts and pieces that we had earlier. Now as I build the stand, or as the stand is being built, you'll notice that these parts start to disappear. That's just showing you those are the parts that I'm picking up to use to build the stand. What I'm going to do here is take the stand leg and the cross member, and I lay it against a table like this so that I can lay it down easily, and it's easier for me to put the first two parts together. Otherwise I'm trying to hold two pieces while I'm trying to put a screw in it, which is very difficult. Now when I put the screws in, I don't tighten these down. I just make them lightly snug. This way, when the whole stand is put together, we can lay it on the floor and then make sure everything's seated. And then we can go ahead and tighten them. Once I've got the two pieces together, cross member and the first leg, now I can go ahead and lay it down on the ground and grab the second leg and go ahead and attach it to the cross member. You'll notice here also that I still have it on its side, and as you can see here, it'll be easier for me to put the cross member on and to put the screw in. It's just a little tip and trick that you can use when building your stand. Now I just raised the stand up on its feet and then putting in the second cross member as a snap. As you recall earlier, I had you keep the screws loose so that the stand can get seated once it's on the ground. Well, once everything's put together and the whole stand's put together, now it's a good time to go ahead and tighten those screws. Now I want to go ahead and put on the control box, but before I do that, I go ahead and install the screws for the control box, because what the control box will do is it'll slip over those screws. Once we take the control panel, you'll notice these slots down at the bottom. Those are the slots that slip over the bottom screws, and then of course you have keyhole slots on the top, as you see here, that slip on the top. So it's just a matter of putting in the bottom, slipping it in as you see there. Go ahead and tighten down those screws on there. The next step we'll be doing is putting the table on, and all you have to do is line the holes, attaching the stand to the table. Well, as promised, I was going to tell you where there was minor differences between the smaller unit and then the larger units, and this is it. When the table is placed on top of the stands, it's different. With the 60, it's just a matter of aligning the holes, whereas the larger units, they have a better way of putting it over the stand, and then you can use a larger screw to tighten them down. Next, we have to take these cables coming from the table and connect them to the control box. So let's go ahead and organize them. Now you want to look for this connector, Centronics. Plug it into the far right connector and then clip it in. The next one is the middle one. Now you see the black arrow with the yellow square? Match that up with the control box, and that way you'll have perfect alignment. And once you do that, just go ahead and tighten it down. Now the last connector is a smaller one, but it goes on the right just like this. Then go ahead and just clip it in. Then plug it in both to the wall, and then one last thing is plug in the USB cable into the control panel, and then of course in the back of your computer. Here's what the unit should look like when it's completed.